Hello. Welcome back to Royal Daily News Channel. Jessica Mulroney's father-in-law, former Canadian Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, has died at the age of 84. His daughter, Caroline Mulroney, confirmed the news with a post on X that read, "On behalf of my mother and our family, it's with great sadness we announce the passing of my father, the Right Honourable Brian Mulroney, Canada's 18th Prime Minister. He died peacefully, surrounded by family." According to reports, Brian Mulroney will be given a state funeral. What's an ideal chance for Meghan Markle to mend fences with her ex-bestie during a high-profile funeral? Rumour has it that Meghan has already called Jessica and begged for an invite. As Prime Minister, Brian Mulroney made history when he proposed to negotiate a bilateral free trade agreement with the United States to US President Ronald Reagan at what became known as the Shamrock Summit, held in Quebec City in 1985. Mulroney called an election in 1988 seeking a mandate to ratify the agreement and won a strong majority government when US President George H.W. Bush initiated negotiations for a similar bilateral free trade agreement between the United States and Mexico. Mulroney successfully argued that Canada should join the talks that produced the North American Free Trade Agreement, which governed regional trade and fostered continental support chains that form the basis for the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, which replaced NAFTA in 2020. Mulroney also shifted Canadian foreign policy towards staunch support for the United States and the US-led global order. He supported US diplomacy to end the Cold War, reunify Germany, counter Libyan-sponsored terrorism, and the 1990 liberation of Kuwait with an allied military force. Mulroney supported US military interventions in Somalia and Panama, but challenged both the Reagan administration and Britain's Thatcher government to sanction South Africa for its apartheid policy. Under Mulroney's leadership, Canada became a global leader in addressing environmental concerns from the negotiation of the Montreal Protocol on reducing chlorofluorocarbon emissions to the US-Canada Air Quality Agreement of 1991. Known commonly as the Acid Rain Treaty, Canada was among the first countries to commit to the 1992 UN Conference on Environment and Development, also known as the Earth Summit, which was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. While opinions among many Canadians about some of his policies may be mixed, there's a consensus that he was a statesman. As a staunch patriot, any attempt by her to assert herself during his memorial would be distasteful. Canadians would strongly disapprove of such behaviour. Meghan is an opportunistic vulture. She doesn't want to be besties with Jessica anymore, but she is capable of using former Canadian PM Mulroney's passing to draw attention to herself. She'll show up with Harry to the service with the paparazzi in tow. However, Jessica will likely block Meghan from the funeral as revenge for Meghan cutting her off. Her friendship with Meghan began crumbling in 2020 when Jessica was accused of problematic behaviour after a head-to-head with lifestyle blogger Sasha Exeter. At the time, it was reported that Meghan had cut ties with Jessica after she was embroiled in a race row. Less than a year later, Jessica hinted that her friendship with the former actress had soured, as she shared a cryptic quote on Instagram about losing important people from her life. In 2022, speculation was rife that Jessica and Meghan's friendship had cooled after she posted another quote, this time suggesting she'd reflected on a problematic relationship. The nail in the coffin of their friendship happened earlier this month, when Meghan and Harry returned to Canada for the One Year to Go event ahead of the 2025 Invictus Games. Despite having a jam-packed schedule, Meghan failed to meet up with a former pal Jessica, with the Sussexes preferring to spend time with Canadian crooner Michael Bublé and his wife Louis instead. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos. Bye bye!